Hey everyone, and welcome. We've got a really complex and honestly confusing weather forecast developing right now near South India and Sri Lanka. There's a lot going on, and even the forecasters are scratching their heads about what's coming next. So let's break down exactly why. All right, so the big question is, why is this forecast so darn tricky? What's causing all this uncertainty? To figure that out, we've got to first see just how many different weather systems are involved here.
Okay, to really get a handle on this puzzle, we first need to identify all the players on the atmospheric board, so to speak. This isn't just one storm we're watching. It's a whole series of interacting systems.
And wow, look at this. It's a real atmospheric traffic jam out there. We've got a low-pressure area from Indonesia that's running late, a deep depression way over by the Philippines, not one but two separate cyclonic circulations near Sri Lanka, and even a third one near the Maldives. And to top it all off, this is all happening inside a very active ITZC, or Intertropical Convergence Zone. Think of the ITZC as a highway where all these systems can trade moisture and energy, which makes it incredibly difficult to predict which one is going to come out on top. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. A system way over near the Philippines is actually having a direct impact on what's happening closer to us. That deep depression is basically exerting this, you could call it a gravitational pull. And it's holding back that system from Indonesia, stopping it from moving into the Andaman Sea on schedule. It's a perfect example of these long-distance connections that make weather forecasting so incredibly complex.
So while all that's happening way out east, these two systems right here, these are the ones we need to watch most closely. They're parked just off the coast of Sri Lanka and are about to interact very, very soon. And that brings us to the main event in this whole forecast.
And this is it. We're now at the most crucial part of this entire forecast. You know, all the confusion, all the uncertainty, it all boils down to one key factor: the island of Sri Lanka itself. So, the next thing we expect to see is these two separate circulations merging, right? They're predicted to combine into one single, larger low-pressure system. But here's the thing. The real mystery isn't the merger itself, it's what happens after they merge and move directly over the landmass of Sri Lanka. And this is where a really key meteorological concept comes into play. It's a process called land-system interaction. Basically, when a weather system moves over land, two things happen. One, it loses its main fuel source, that warm ocean water. And two, it runs into friction from the terrain, mountains, hills, all that stuff. This combo really messes with its structure and weakens it, but, and this is the important part, it's really, really hard to predict by exactly how much. So here's the bottom line. Sri Lanka's landmass is the ultimate wildcard in this whole game. And this just brilliantly illustrates why even our most advanced weather models are struggling right now. They just can't be sure what the exact intensity and structure of this system will look like when it finally pops out on the other side, back over the open sea. Okay, so now that we've kind of unpacked the puzzle and why there's so much uncertainty, let's get down to it. What's the most likely outcome based on the latest data? What does all this actually mean in terms of rain on the ground? Well, for Sri Lanka, the impact is going to be pretty immediate and significant. Over the next 4 to 5 days, we're talking widespread heavy to very heavy rain expected right across the island, and it'll be accompanied by some strong winds. Areas like Hambantota, Batticaloa, Trincomalee, Kandy, and Matali, those are the key zones to watch. This is definitely going to be a major weather event for the entire country. Now for Tamil Nadu, the rain is going to arrive in stages. So for the next 2 to 3 days, it's the southern districts and the coastal areas that will see some scattered heavy rains. Then, around November 27th and 28th, things really ramp up for the delta districts. We're talking Nagapattinam, Thiruvarur, places like that. They'll see much more intense rainfall. And finally, by the 29th and 30th, the system is expected to track north, bringing heavy rain to North Tamil Nadu, and that includes Chennai. So what happens after the system makes it past Sri Lanka? Well, the current thinking is that it'll move northwest and cross the coast somewhere near Pondicherry. Now, its intensity at that point is still a bit of a question mark. It could just be a low-pressure area, or it can manage to strengthen into a depression. That's what we'll all be watching so closely once it's back over the water. Okay, I know that was a lot to take in, so let's just quickly summarize the most important points you should take away from all this, just to keep everything crystal clear. All right, so let's recap. Number 1, this whole forecast is complicated because we're dealing with a bunch of interacting weather systems, not just one.
Number 2, the landmass of Sri Lanka is the real wild card here, and it's the main reason the models are so uncertain about the system's future strength. For our friends in Sri Lanka, the message is simple. Get ready for heavy rain and wind for the next several days. And for Tamil Nadu, remember, the rain is coming in stages, starting in the south and then moving north all through the week.
And all of this leaves us with one final, critical question. The next 48 hours are absolutely key. How this system manages to reorganize itself after it passes over Sri Lanka? Well, that's going to determine everything about its final track and its impact on the Indian coast. I guess we'll just have to watch and wait for the atmosphere to finally show its hand.